Hello, everyone, and welcome to takTalks number 5. Very special guest today, Rebekah Elmaloglou, otherwise known as Beck to me or Elmo. This is going to be a lot of fun, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy this one. It's going to be a lot of fun. But enough with me. Look, I got a new mic. Isn't this fun? Hopefully it sounds better. Let me know in the chat if you think it sounds better. Hopefully it does. Being very professional and everything. But everybody, please welcome Rebekah Elmaloglou. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I put some clothes on for you, Takaya.
Aw, why'd you have to go and do that?
Isolation, housebound,
Welcome to takTalks. You are the 5th.
Thank you. Oh my God. Oh no, my dog's just decided to do zoomies just as we've gone live.
Of course.
Excellent.
Well, that only means
That'll be
that the
fun.
dog has to make an appearance at some point.
Yes.
People love the
Well,
dogs.
there's two of them. I'm sure
Well,
they
both
will
will.
try and steal the limelight.
Always.
How are you?
I'm good. I've been having fun doing these
Good.
things.
Yes, I've been watching. They look great fun.
Well, I'm glad. Hopefully we can maintain that today. I think we can.
Oh, we'll try.
What?
You know me, never short of a word.
Just like
Never short of a word and laugh.
but just like me and short in other places. And
Yes.
so what have you been doing to keep busy?
Well,
Or not busy?
it's sort of or not busy. Yeah, well, it's interesting times. We're all in the same boat, so I think that sort of gives me a little bit of comfort in a way. But we're just trying to remain as calm as possible in our little house, in our little haven. We've tried to stick to a little routine, sort of every day, getting up at the same time-ish, having breakfast, taking the dogs to the park, doing some chores, having lunch. Then I retire to my bedroom to either read or watch some Netflix shows.
What have you been watching?
And my boys have taken up the obsession of playing table tennis on my dining table. It's driving me insane.
That is an excellent idea.
And of course, you can't get table tennises anywhere at the moment. Everywhere's sold out. Because I was like, all right, you can get one, but you're putting it in the garden. I don't want to know about it, but can't get one. So we've had to compromise. And just getting by and just trying to pass the time fairly wisely and not sitting on my ass the whole day.
Which is easy to do, and it's fine for everyone out there who's just chilling and relaxing. I mean, there has been. It felt like there was this when it all started. Everyone had this pressure to, oh my god, I got to do all those things, and I've got to achieve stuff, and I've got to, But like, I think it's a matter of just you got to take the time too. I mean, it's a good time to give yourself the excuse of actually I can just rest for a bit now. I don't need to be.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. But I've got this bloody basket of ironing upstairs, I'm telling you. And I never iron. But for the first few days, I suddenly went into this mad rush of doing heaps of washing. Like washing the couch pillows or the doonas or the blankets. But now I've got all this ironing to do, and I'm kind of putting it off, but I've got no excuse. It's really, really annoying.
See, I've always done the ironing as I've worn it. I grew up in a household where mum or dad never stood there and ironed everything after it was washed. So I still hang things up. I put them in the drawer properly, but then when I go to wear them, then I'll iron them.
Yes. Yeah.
Clearly you don't.
That's like if Kane needs a shirt, I'll iron it as we go. But I tend not to buy clothes that need ironing too much. Look, I'm a good housewife, but ironing is not my thing.
Whose thing is it?
I actually tend to sneak it into the Neighbours costume department. Don't tell anyone, because their iron is amazing.
I actually.
And sometimes the girls offer to do it for me if it's just just one piece.
Yeah. Oh well, no. If we've got an event after we've been filming, I'd definitely go in there and just use their iron because it's so much faster.
Totally.
Iron steam.
It's the best. Like these industrial irons are amazing. Oh my god, they're amazing.
For everyone at home,
So,
enjoying our iron chat.
Yes. But yes, no, there's lots of things to do and so much time and no excuses.
What have you been watching on Netflix? Have you watched The Tiger King yet? It's the biggest thing at the moment.
Oh gosh, yes, we did that last week.
Crazy.
Loving it. Yeah, you know what I'm watching, and I shouldn't be telling anyone this, but
Home and away.
I'm
Is that what you got to say?
no, yeah, Home and Away reruns from 25 years ago. No, I am. Okay, so I've got two shows on the go right now. Um, I started Outlander a few years ago, watched first few episodes, and kind of got sidetracked and never got back into it. So I've got back into it. I'm on season like 3, the middle
I've
of
heard
season
really
3.
good things about
Oh my
it.
God. Oh, it's like Mills and Boon. It's like Game of Thrones, Mills and Boon. It's fabulous. I think it's kind of, look, it's great, but I think it's a real chick. I was going to say something else, but I think it's a real chick. Look, he's gorgeous and she's gorgeous, but he's really gorgeous.
Right.
They're both
Right.
gorgeous. So I'm kind of watching that with, and this is kind of really, so that's a little bit embarrassing. Well, it's not embarrassing, it's fabulous, but it's kind of like my secret. I just love watching it. But I'm also watching Dynasty.
Oh,
The new
really?
Dynasty.
Wow, how's that going?
It's just, and it's got Alan Dale
Yeah.
actually, who used to be
Who's
on
my
Neighbours, who
granddad.
was Paul Robinson's father. Yeah, and he's wonderful. But I just love it. It's so the drama. They haven't changed a thing. It's great. So I've been watching that. But okay, back to real shows. We watched Lock and Key for Kai. Which was great. That was
Felix.
really, really good. And again, our friend Felix from Neighbours is in
Look at you
that.
plugging away. This is great.
I know, and he's fabulous. And what other good show? Oh, I've started Fleabag the other night.
Yeah.
I've heard that's really
I've
great.
watched a couple of episodes of Fleabag, but it didn't
Yeah.
grab me really quickly. It's one that I want to go back to because people have said such good things about it, but it didn't get me in the first couple of eps, so I do want to go back to it though.
Was it The Outsider that we watched? The Outsider. Oh, look,
There's so many. There's so many.
There's so many.
But
They're starting to sort of mold together. But anyway, I love it. I love that I've got time at the moment to be able to sort of, as you said, sit there
and research.
and
We're
watch.
researching, right? We're watching other actors and we're
absolutely.
researching.
Absolutely. And I mean, I had this meme that I put up on my Instagram the other day saying, people who don't think actors are real working sort of artists or real workers. What are we all turning to? And I added the crew and production and everybody now has turned to our industry, and then we're going through this whole sort of trying to get sort of all the artists and all our industry people are sort of trying not to get slipped through
the cracks of
the cracks of
the money, the
of
funding
getting
that's coming through to pay for people who have lost
That's
work and
right.
stuff. So for everyone who doesn't know at home, the arts industry's kind of been looked over because we work in a very strange way. So people who are on productions who are stopped filming right now, the JobKeeper thing doesn't apply to the company because they've got to prove that they've got a 30% loss in revenue, which that company can't really prove because they're not selling a product every day. They make a program and then that gets sold as one thing. So that thing will still get made. It's just going to be made a year later. So the profit will be the same, but everyone who works on it is missing out on being paid during that period. So it's a pretty big problem across the industry, which is currently being the most looked at industry by everyone at home. So get behind.
Absolutely.
There's going to be, I think, a big push over the next 2 days. So get behind anyone who comes out with stuff and give them a like or a comment to help boost up that campaign. But moving away from our isolation and being stuck at home,
Yes.
I did a little bit of research on you today.
Oh,
In
did
that
you
I
now?
read your Wikipedia.
Oh God.
I also read your.
Half it's not true. Actually, I think my Wikipedia said that I had OCD.
It does, yeah. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, which it's funny because I don't. I've suffered from anxiety for years and years and years. Actually, maybe I do have a little bit of OCD. Maybe I do.
But maybe that's one of those
I
things
think
that,
I'm
like,
getting a little bit as I'm older. But I remember being much younger and kind of going, why does it say I've got OCD on my, on my Wikipedia when I don't? I have never been clinically, diagnosed with it. And now I think that was sort of back in the day when it was something to be ashamed of almost. It's weird, and
It's also just a
it
lie
really sort of
about you, and
ups.
that's always going to be something that.
Well, it just kind of, I was certainly diagnosed with generalized anxiety, um, absolutely, and now I speak very openly about it. But it's just the fact that I didn't have OCD. Why would they say I've got OCD?
It's a
Anyway,
very particular thing to pick
look,
too,
I
you
think
know.
actually I think maybe I do a little bit now. But I'm certainly nothing to be ashamed of, and proud, and very not proud, but happily, openly um, I talk about my anxiety, my generalized anxiety all the time.
Well, let's go
But
into that a
yeah,
bit now. Like what?
but there's others. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, let's go into that a little bit now, just in terms of like how did that manifest for you, and then what have you done since then to help manage it? Because I know I've had to deal with it as well myself. My Amy has had to as well. So it's a real thing that is quite common in the general population, but it does have that taboo thing
Absolutely.
about it. So the more we talk about it, I think the better.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, certainly less nowadays. I started getting terrible panic attacks at the age of 15, and I was working on Home and Away. Oh, so, yeah, Home and Away at the time, and I I was put on some medication, I think, for my skin, and it was making me feel a bit dizzy. And this one particular day, I was actually doing a big day of filming with Guy Pearce, and and then we went and it was a very big day, and we went and did publicity afterwards, a big photo shoot. And then we went and had dinner afterwards with our publicist, and it all just built up during the day. And I had this big, massive panic attack and basically ran down to St. Vincent's Hospital in Darlinghurst in Sydney, and ended up having, 2 weeks off. And anyway, so it sort of started from there. And over the years, oh gosh, I mean, I've tried. Over the years, I tried absolutely everything, from, therapies to just everything except for medication. Um, I think I did a clinical hypnotherapy once, and that actually worked
What
for a
was that
while,
experience like?
because I just fell asleep every session. It was really strange. But I was about to do a play. See, this is the problem with anxiety, and especially quite debilitating for an actor, because I was so nervous. I was so nervous, um, getting up and making speeches, or getting up and doing live things, or doing theatre, that it stopped me. I turned down so much work. Um, I turned down opportunities overseas. I turned down so much because my anxiety was quite crippling. Um, and I just think over the years I've learnt to control it. I think, I've certainly had times, especially like after giving birth, my anxiety was terrible. But actually it wasn't until I finally got this job, which I knew moving from Sydney to Melbourne was going to be a massive deal, was when my GP, who's known me since I was 15, finally said, look, I think it's time, you consider maybe going on some medication, um, which I did. And, I'll still take the medication. I've tried to wean myself off it, but more trouble than it really sort of is. And from the majority of medical professions I know, professionals have all just said you may as well just stay on your low dosage. So I kind of have, and my anxiety's been amazing. But I think I've learned to control it.
Yeah.
If I ever feel like a panic attack coming on, which is very rare nowadays, I just know. I know what it is. Whereas when I was younger, even though I knew what it is, and it was all that awful feeling, I would know what it is, but I wouldn't be able to control the knowing what it was. It would just overtake, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm dying!" And I think a lot of people who suffer from panic attacks and anxiety would understand that awful feeling
Yeah.
of, yeah, this is a panic attack. You're having an awful panic attack, but
Yeah, because for me, it sort of comes up in a way of like, I get this weird feeling of wanting to run away, and I don't know, like, there's no specific place.
it's the flight or
It's just
fear and
wanting to
flight.
not be
Yeah.
where I am currently. And it doesn't matter where I go, I'll still have that feeling, but that's kind of what it is of just not wanting to be
It's awful
here.
feeling.
Um,
Yeah.
so let's
I feel like I'm dying, like, oh, look, I'm going to die. But,
because people can have really
yeah,
severe
so anyway, I
ones.
don't know how we started talking about that, but,
I'm going to lead you down some
yeah,
paths,
it's
Beck.
very common, and very common in our industry
Yeah.
too. But, you know, I mean, it's in the wider community. A lot of people suffer, but at least now, the thing about me is that after I had that incident, I had a family member say, don't ever, ever talk about it. Don't ever tell the press. Don't ever tell people that you work with that you suffer from anxiety. You will never get work. So I was made to feel ashamed of it. And now, you know, I mean, now things have changed so much. We talk about mental health all the time. Now I'm very open about it. I'll tell anyone, yeah, I take an antidepressant, a mild antidepressant for my anxiety. Yes, you know, like I'm very open about it. Whereas I was made to feel ashamed of it. So it's kind of good that it's talked about a little bit more nowadays, and you know, the governments, you know, sort of have taken that, you know, like mental plan packages and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was
So
asthmatic,
it's
like
good.
a severe asthmatic growing up, and I took medication every day for that, but that was never something to, you know, be ashamed of. And this is the same thing, you know, at the end of the day. So,
Yeah, exactly.
so thank you for talking about it, because
Exactly.
there's a whole bunch of people in
That's
the
all right.
chat, you know, talking about themselves and how what anxiety issues they have, and so
Yeah.
you know, there's plenty of people out there.
Amazing.
We have
Yeah. Oh,
82
yeah.
viewers at the moment, Beck, so we're doing pretty well.
Hey, hello.
But
Hopefully, I won't bore you too much.
oh please, you couldn't bore anyone. You could sleep and it's interesting.
Oh,
Actually, you do sleep on set sometimes, and it is fun for all of us. I won't go into
yeah.
why.
Because I start snoring and you all start filming me.
Yeah, that's why.
One of the boys, not mentioning names, filmed me and put it on his Insta story of me having a little this snoring. I had to ring him that night. Take it down right
I
now.
love that you gave us
Naughty boy.
a live performance of your snoring just then. That's I think that'll be the
Yeah.
highlight clip of the whole
I
thing.
don't think I don't think it's quite as cute as that.
But let's take a step back before Home and Away. You started acting young. I mean, you were 10 or something when you first started?
I was 8.
8.
I was 8 when I started acting.
And
Yeah. Um, yeah. It was very long time ago. But I always loved the film The Sound of Music and still do. It's my number one. I even went to Salzburg and did the tour. Loved it. Oh,
I did
loved
that
it so much.
too on a choir tour of all things.
Did you?
Yeah. It
Oh,
was a great tour.
and what a beautiful
I
city
know.
Salzburg is. Oh my
Wow.
gosh. But anyway, the big stage production was coming to Sydney, and I really wanted to audition for it. And actually, Justine Clark, who you know
Yeah.
very well, um, uh, we met actually because we both got the job. But there was hundreds and thousands of kids lining up auditioning, and I was lucky enough to get the role of Marta, and Justine got the role of
Oh,
Brigitte.
wow.
And we met then, and we've you know, known each other all our lives, and we've worked together a few times since actually. And then, yeah, I think her mum, Beverly, actually suggested that I get an agent after that. And I just started doing ads and then started getting films, doing lots of
Well, you have
films.
to tell me what Professor
And just,
Poopsnaggle's steam zeppelin is.
oh my God, no, nah,
Is it not you?
nah, have no idea. Nah, it's not
It's
me.
listed on IMDb, and I
And
was
I
like, I've
think
got
I've
to know what
seen
this
that.
thing is. It was a TV series, apparently.
I think I've seen that.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, yeah, nah. I
Oh,
think
that's
I've
with
seen
Justine
that
Clark's
too.
in it. So,
Yeah, that's what's ringing a bell for me. No, I didn't do that, no.
oh well, that's a shame. I
That was
was so
Justine.
excited to find out what Professor Poopsnaggle's steam zeppelin is. Uh,
No, but if you want to see a lovely film that Justine and I were in, actually Justine had the lead role. Beautiful, beautiful, lovely film. Actually, Martin Sachs was in it
oh
as
yeah,
well, who used to be on
Blue Heelers.
Blue Heelers. And Claudia Carvin was in it. There was quite a few amazing people in it. Called Relatives. I don't know how you'd be able to find it, but it was a lovely film. I played her little sister, her half sister, and that was a really nice film we did. And George Ogilvy was the director of that. And then we went on to do Mad Max, or we did Mad Max first. Can't remember, but Justine and I were in Mad Max 3.
Yeah, which was directed by George as well, right? Who sadly passed away
Yes, it
yesterday.
was.
Did you know that?
What?
Did you not know that? I don't want to be the bearer of bad news like that. But yeah, yesterday.
George Ogilvy
Yeah,
died.
literally
Oh.
yesterday. Because I remember because I was looking up your stuff and saw that he had directed Mad Max, and a bunch of friends had been posting about it on Facebook that he had passed away yesterday. So, which is super sad.
Oh, that's very sad.
So
That's really
I'm
sad.
sorry. I'm sorry to break that to you just there too, because it
All right,
was.
thanks.
Um,
That's all right.
but
He was a lovely, lovely man. And condolences to his family. And
well,
Oh,
yeah.
anyway, yes. So yeah, just did lots of work and stuff. And I was given the opportunity to be in a kids series called Adventures on Kithara
Oh yeah.
when I was about 14, and went to Greece with a whole Australian film crew and cast
Wow.
and filmed this children's series for about 4 months, which was amazing. It was incredible. And when I got back from that job, I auditioned for 3 jobs and I got them all. And one of them was Home and
Oh
Away.
wow.
Um, yeah, and and it was only a guestie at first, with Terry Donovan, who played. So we all know Terry Donovan, who played Brad's dad, Brad Willis's dad on
It's
Neighbours,
sometimes hard to follow the
Jason's
timelines of
real
people.
dad,
Yeah.
and Gemma's grandfather.
Yeah.
That's
Crazy.
all very confusing. Anyway, him and I went on to Home and Away playing father and daughter. And my guest role just got extended and ended up staying sort of 3.5, 4 years. So yeah, so that was an amazing experience, you know.
Well, before we move on to
People
get
often
into Home and
ask
Away
me,
too much yet, tell me what was the plot of Adventures of Kithara?
oh, it was about 5 kids who were, there was an Aussie Greek boy, there was a African American little boy, there was a Greek, I was the Greek
Oh
native
yeah.
girl, so I
Did
was
you have to speak
actually,
Greek in it, or was everything in
yeah, I had
English?
to have, no, I didn't speak Greek in it, but I had to have a very thick Greek
Oh,
accent. Actually, I've got another story about Greek. I got a lot of Greek roles when I was younger,
yeah.
and and yeah, so it was just a bunch of kids who just went on these amazing adventures on this incredible island,
Is that a real
which
place?
is, yes, it's absolutely a real place. It's down the bottom, and it's gorgeous. And I actually was in the Greek islands last year, and I wish I'd gotten had time to go down there, but it was beautiful, and it was a shame because the second series came through when I was on Home and Away, and unfortunately they couldn't let me go to do the second series, so they all went back and did a season 2 of Adventures of Kithra without me, which was really
Oh.
sad. But yeah, but I was doing Home and Away and having a great time doing that as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Fortunately, you were still working, so that's always a good thing.
I was still
Yeah.
working.
So then Home and Away came along. And what was that audition process like? Was that a quick one because you were such an experienced young actress?
Yeah, it was. As I said, I think I auditioned for like 3 jobs. Uh, one was
Paradise
a
Beach was the other one, maybe, or GP, or yeah,
no, they all came after. Oh no, GP was beforehand. Oh, I don't know.
or Princess Kate. There was a
No,
movie
Paradise Beach was,
I'm looking at here.
yes. Oh, oh no. That's the film with Justine. Sorry, that's the Princess Kate is the film with Justine. Relatives was a film I did when I was about 10. That was a telly movie actually. Sorry, I'm getting
Oh,
all
that's all right.
confused. I should have my CV in front of me.
Well, I kind of do. That's what I'm looking at. Well, your IMDb at least.
I should be cross-checking everything.
No, you can get things wrong. That's the fun thing.
Anyway, so I auditioned, and it was because it was originally only a 3 month sort of guestie stint. The audition process wasn't huge.
Right.
It was going to a guestie.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, of course.
They liked the character and they liked what I was doing, obviously, and just sort of I don't know kept
Wanted you to
kept me
keep
on.
doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then, okay, so Home and Away kicks off. And it would have had a massive following at that time, I imagine. Because I imagine up until that point you'd been relatively anonymous, except maybe, what did your friends think? What was it like at school?
Well, I left school. Yeah, I left school back in the days when you could leave school. Well, you couldn't really, but I left school like halfway through year 9.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I even did year 10. Look, I wasn't very academic.
Yeah.
So do I stay at school, or do I go to a Greek island and live there for 4 months with a film crew and shoot this amazing show and have an incredible experience?
Oh, well, I think you stay in
You know.
school at that point, don't you?
So I left school, and there's no regrets. Mind you, this homeschooling is going to be a bit stressful.
Yeah. How's
When
that
Kai
going?
goes back to school next week. Or, I don't know, I haven't even opened the envelope yet. I'm terrified. I'm going to get Kane to do all of that.
I think that's a good idea.
Or get him to do all of that.
I think that might be a
Yeah.
good idea. Yeah. So you
Totally.
were a free agent then by the time you were on Home and Away. You would just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Go crazy.
Yeah.
And was that?
Yeah. Yes. But by saying that, so I did move out when I was about 17. Moved in with some girlfriends in a terrace in Paddington and had, just the best time. But
How many
my
of you? Was there like
parents-
6, the same as Stiffy when he was doing it?
No. There was only 3 of us.
Yeah, well, that's good.
But my parents were really smart because they wouldn't. I had no access to my account, my money.
That's a good idea.
So, yes. So I wasn't until I was a little bit older. I think I was 19, and I was able to, and that was only due to my parents sort of, keeping
Taking care of
my
that
money.
for you.
all it-
Yeah. Well, that's super
yeah.
great of them, because like you definitely see plenty of young actors who get the fortune of getting a big gig or whatever, and they suddenly get all this money, and then it just disappears, and then they finish the gig, and then that's it. So to come away with a place, that's amazing. Do you still have that place?
That's I do actually. Yeah, I do. I'm hanging on to it with dear life. I love it. And I've lived there off and on all my life since the age of 19.
Oh wow! Do you Airbnb it, or you rent it out or something at the moment?
We have holiday rented it out, but we're renting it out now. Yeah, we renovated it when Kai was about 1 or 2.
Oh, right. What? That's an undertaking with a 1 or 2 year old.
Oh no, we luckily Mum and Dad live around the corner, so we moved in with them, and
That's helpful.
while we renovated it, so it's a beautiful little place. But going back to money, and earning money at a young age, it's really funny because Kai, my son, as you know, has decided he wants to get into acting. And he was very upset when he found out that we would be opening an account for him and he would not be having access to his money. So we had to have that conversation, him thinking, oh, cool, I'm going to be acting and I'm going to be doing acting jobs and, oh, all that money. It's like, no.
No, I think that's a good idea. Take after your parents in that way.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, so I was lucky in that sense.
Oh, that's great. And so then, what was the? Tell us a bit about the Home and Away experience. Then, what was life like for you once the show started? Well, once your character aired and that sort of thing.
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, it was so long ago. I think for me, because I had done so much work beforehand, it wasn't so much of a big deal for me. Like it was, but I'd done so many guesties on other shows, like GP and A Country Practice, and all those sort of shows that for me, because it started as a guest role, it kind of, do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like, oh my God. Yeah. And for me, like I wasn't going into it green, It wasn't such a big deal. Um, I'm not going. I'm not throwing. I'm not take. I'm not. Like it was a fabulous
Yeah, yeah.
experience. Don't get me wrong. Like it was amazing. The opportunity. And I learnt so much. Working on shows like. Hold on, my dogs are attacking each other.
Little
No, they're all right.
intermission.
We had to feed them early.
All right.
No, they're good. Um, Look, I'll show you. Look, girls. They love each other. They really
Oh.
do. Um, uh, what was I saying? What else?
No, during Home and Away, you'd that period
Oh
was
yeah. No,
sort of you were used to it by that
what I was
stage.
about to say was yeah, and but also working on shows like Home and Away and Neighbours, which there's only two of the
Yeah,
kind. There are two soaps in Australia. As you know, it's such an incredible learning platform for anybody.
yeah,
And when I say anybody, I'm not talking about just people who haven't acted before. I'm talking about people who, and even people that have just come out of drama school or people who have just done, bits of work here and there. I'm talking about professional actors who have come onto our show who have never done this platform
yeah,
before and have been blown away by the speed that we work. I mean, it really is incredible. And they say if you've done shows like Home and Away and Neighbours, then you can do anything, and you'll agree, Tak. I mean, it's pretty
yeah.
true.
Absolutely.
And I think we're very lucky that well, that we've got a job, um, especially at the
Yeah.
moment. But you know that we've been given the opportunity to
To be working every
to
day.
the
Yeah. Like
skills.
and I think
Yeah, and the skill set. I mean, it's just it's we're pretty lucky. So I learned a lot doing Home and Away.
yeah. Um,
A
you got
lot.
to work with
Yeah.
Guy Pearce quite a bit. What was that like?
Yeah. Well, he had just finished Neighbours, and he came up and was cast as my boyfriend. And this was sort of in the later years. And I think he was only on the show for about 3 or 4 months, and then they killed him off. It was very, very sad.
Oh,
Very sad.
oh,
I know. And then I had his baby, and it was, yeah. But he was lovely. He was lovely to work with, very professional. But again, had come from Neighbours, so knew to,
yeah,
and was used to the pace and all that sort of thing.
yeah.
But yeah, it was a great
And so
experience.
beyond that, obviously, then you were dealing with your anxiety and stuff. Um, what were the next few years like for you after Home and Away finished?
The next few years, I was quite busy. Um, Busy, lots of guesties on other shows. A few films. Went overseas quite a lot. I was overseas a lot in my early sort of 20s.
Where'd you go?
Well, I was in London because I've got a British passport, so
Handy.
I've got family there, so I've spent a lot of time over there, which is amazing. So yeah, so I spent heaps of time there. Spent a bit of time in France. But things started to slow down. I mean, things did start to slow down because I was one of those sort of people that, um, because I've always looked quite young,
Yeah,
and so I went through that sort of weird phase, and it actually went on for years where I was kind of a little bit too old to play, the young sort of 18, 19-year-old roles, but
yeah,
not quite old enough to play the sort of the leading hot chicks in not hot, but the leads in cop shows or
yeah,
or detectives or what I mean,
yeah, yeah.
or a
Absolutely.
doctor, like I didn't sort of really fit anywhere, and I felt also not so much typecast. I wouldn't say, certainly not typecast, because my character, I mean, but just there was for many years that whole soap. Even though I did get quite a lot of work afterwards, and some great work, some really good work.
We did the
But
was it Some of Us, the film, right?
that was one of the films that I did.
What
But
was your
I just
role
I
like
went
on
through.
that then?
Oh, that wasn't a big. I mean, that wasn't a huge role. It was playing Deborah Kennedy, who's wonderful. I don't know if
I
you've worked
haven't,
with
no.
her. Playing her daughter, she ends up having the relationship with Jack Thompson's character, which is
Yeah.
Russell's dad's character. Um, but there was quite a few years where sort of work sort of did dry up, and it was hard because I didn't fit into any kind of. It wasn't until I kind of hit my 30s. Well, then I had Kai in my mid 30s, and so that was and and in my earlier 30s I met Kane, and we moved up to Byron, and
How'd
I
you
was like,
guys
oh,
meet?
acting, I wasn't really. We were set
Oh,
up.
really?
We were set up with some friends, yeah. Yeah, we met, and
What
yeah,
was the first date?
there was no first date.
Oh,
Oh, there was no
all
first
right.
date. No,
Okay,
no.
okay.
It was like, hey, you'd like our friend Kane. Oh, they're going out tonight. You should go out. Oh. I
There
was
must
like,
have been one
okay.
thing where
Uh,
beyond that where you went and did something. Surely, can you remember?
yeah, yeah, yeah. The next day, the next day, we went and had a Thai meal up in Bangalore in Byron Bay.
Awesome.
Anyway, so Kane's from Byron Bay. We met up in
Yeah, I
Byron.
love
So
Byron.
anyway, I ended up moving up there, and anyway, we got married there, and
What did you do up there?
I worked at so for many years when I haven't been acting, I've been I've done waitress, I've house cleaned, I've worked, pretended to be like a secretary because I'm really hard to say that sort of
Pretended
thing.
to be a
And
secretary. That's where you developed your acting chops. Was pretending to be able to do a
yeah,
real
I have
job.
done so many funny, bizarre jobs. But I kind of just was a childcare worker
Oh
because my
yeah.
mum was a kindergarten teacher. So I've always kind of just done that. So I was doing that when I was living in Byron. And then went overseas, came back and had the baby. And so I was very busy doing that. So, but
Yeah.
it wasn't until I was about 36, 37 that I went, you know what? Really want to get back into acting. And Kyle was about 2 or 3. And so I went on this just mission. I really went for it. I just went, right, I'm going to get into shape. I'm going to start working on my craft again. I'm going, and I did everything. I did workshops. I did everything to get back into it. And yeah, I got a few sort of bits and pieces, and Neighbours was one of them actually. But I originally auditioned for Lauren, for Kate Kendall's character,
That's right.
and almost got it. It was between Kate and I, but they knew that that Therese Willis was coming up not long afterwards,
Yeah.
and
Like
yeah,
imagine
so
if you and KK switched roles. Like imagine if you had gotten that and then she had gotten Therese. Like how different those two characters would have turned
so
out.
so different.
Yeah.
So yeah, so bizarre. That would have been so bizarre.
Although you shared a husband, didn't you? So I guess it's like
What was that?
you because Brad.
I was married to Brad Willis.
Oh no, I'm getting confused with something else now. Because there's so many
Yeah.
relationships that then switch around, and I always get so confused as to who's been with
Brad
who.
Willis left me for for Lauren.
Yeah, so you did, yeah. That's what I mean. Like, so you shared. So it like
Yeah.
it works its way
Yeah,
around.
yeah, yeah.
It basically all
Oh
becomes the
yeah,
same thing. It's fine.
yeah.
Now, is it true that I just remembered seeing that your cousin is Dame Judi Dench? Is that a real thing?
Yes.
How,
Yeah.
that's incredible. Like so random. Like how is that through? Who's that? Is that through your mum or dad or?
It's through my mum. So Judy's basically my mum, my grandmother's cousin. So she's not my first cousin.
Right. Okay.
Um, she, she's my mum's second cousin.
Have you
So
have you hung out at a family do before?
No, look, I've only met Judy once or twice, but I know Finty really well, her daughter. Finty and I are very, very close. In fact, I caught up with her not long ago when I was in London, and she's an actress now. We're similar ages.
Yeah.
And her and I have always been very, very close. But yeah, no, I've only met Judy. I've spoken to her a few times on the phone, and I met her many, many years ago. We were invited to. She was doing Hamlet with Daniel Day-Lewis in London, and yeah, and we went to the show, and then we had lunch with them afterwards, and it was amazing.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, look, she's so similar. Her and my mum are so similar. They almost look identical as well.
Oh, wow.
So we've got a very strong Dench connection there. But yeah,
It's random. I just saw it. I was like, is that one of those fake things that are there, or is this a real thing? Because it seems like such a strange
no. Yeah, the obsession, the OCD's not real, and that other thing on my CV that wasn't me, it was Justine.
Yeah, people getting confused. Well, on your acting, your agent's website, you've written that you do gymnastics and martial arts. Are these two things true? Yes. To all those casting directors out there, yes, they're...
Yes, very, very true. That's great. Where'd you read that?
On your agent's website. Oh, so I think it's even Showcast that it's on. Yeah, it's on Showcast. You've got athletics, gymnastics, horse riding, ice skating, martial arts, rollerblading, rowing, snow skiing, swimming, yoga, and Pilates.
Oh my God. Oh. Well, let me tell you, I'm an expert at all of those things.
Very good.
No, I think I need to go in and change that.
Now, do you have a motor? Do you have your...
Oh my God. I mean, look at me. Look, I was a very good gymnast when I was younger. But then I grew boobs. And,
You became more
know.
difficult, yeah. Because my
I was very good, and I'm very flexible.
mum and dad owned a gym academy. Did you know that?
Oh, I think we've talked about that before.
Well, we've been around for a while.
Yes.
Yeah, so, I've been around gym my whole life.
Yes, no, I think because Kai wanted to start doing gymnastics, so I think we've talked about that.
Then, Anyway.
Yeah, I need martial arts.
Have you ever done any martial arts? Like ever?
No. No.
I would love to see you doing martial arts.
I can't rollerblade. I'm hopeless ice skating. Horse riding. Look. If I had to get on a horse, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I always get the dud horse though that just doesn't go, just won't leave the farm. My friends gallop off into the sunset, and I'm like stuck there kicking the horse. I used to always get the dud. Always get the dud. What else was on that list?
Well, there's also a lot of dancing.
So did it say
skiing? Snow skiing, yeah.
Oh, I can't ski. I don't even like the snow. I'll sit in the bar and drink schnapps.
I reckon it was your agent. There was some
ski.
role that came up, and they're like, "Oh, it needs to be someone who can ski." Yeah, she can ski. Oh, maybe not. I don't know.
Look, I'll never forget actually. Oh, I have done films where I did one film actually, this futuristic film years and years ago, where it was set in the future, and I was part of a skate gang.
Oh yeah.
And I had to.
I can see where this is going.
Skateboarding gang, and I had to be like skateboarder, and I was so bad. I got cast doing this ad for. It was like those pogo balls, those pogo jumping balls, stick things. And I remember, I don't know how, I must have fluked it in the audition. But we were down at Centennial Park and we were shooting this ad, and it wasn't just me. I think it was some of the other kids. Like, no one could do it. It was just awful. I think I got fired from that job.
Well, under dance, it says ballet, ballroom, belly, Greek, jazz, and Latin. Are any of those things?
Belly
you can do? Excellent. I love that.
I'm cut out for belly. What? Look, I was a great, beautiful ballet dancer
Really
when I was
awesome.
younger. If I've had a few tequilas, I do a bit of Latin, sure.
Brings it out of you.
On the dance floor. Ballroom, no. What was
Greek,
the other one? Greek. Oh, I can do a bit
Latin.
of Greek.
I guess that's sort of similar
No,
to
no. Oh, yeah, I can do
yeah.
a bit of Latin.
And then accents, we have
Greek.
American, Brooklyn, West Coast American, English, Greek, Irish, Italian, and Spanish. How many yeses do we have in that list?
Oh my God, I'm going to go in and change all this. I'm terrible at accents. Terrible. What was I
Well,
thinking?
I was. It's
What
so
was I
specific
thinking?
in Brooklyn and West Coast American. I was like, maybe you did something that was you had to do one, but
Oh my God.
because American
No.
Standard I can
This
believe,
is
Greek
such
I can
lies.
understand.
I'm so
I would.
embarrassed. I'm so
I feel like everyone
embarrassed.
wants to hear your Irish though. Can you do a bit of Irish? Someone literally wrote, "Oh my god, can you do an Irish accent?" So I feel like you can get.
No, no, because I end up. No, because I do my Highlander
It's not too bad.
accent.
It's not too bad.
I'm a Highlander, and then I try and go into my. I can't. I'm really bad. I'm so sorry.
No.
The Irish. The Irish. No, see, I'm hopeless.
Oh, look, it's way better that when you can't do it than when you can do it. So I think that's way more
Yeah.
entertaining.
Hey, and my Brooklyn accent. Yeah, no, I can't. See, I'm hopeless. Can't. I'm hopeless.
I love it.
Look,
That's
I'm
good.
actually really good. If I've had a few vinos, I'm fine with an
Because you
accent.
relax a bit more, and then
Well, you relax a bit, your voice loosens up, and you get a little bit. I don't know. I'm joking. I don't know. But okay, so I need to go into that. Where is that? Showcase.
yeah, on Showcast, yeah.
Ooh,
Which I found through your
awkward.
agency website.
Embarrassing.
That's great. I love that. I'm going to do that more with people now. Is go
Ooh.
into their Showcasts and expose.
Yeah.
Them. I'm sure mine's just
I'm
as bad.
surprised it doesn't say like type trapeze and
Well,
and
do you have your
circus
motorcycle
skills.
license?
Look, I did once years ago. Yeah,
Well, that's half true.
that's kind of half
And
true.
instrumental, it says string. I'm not sure what that means.
Violin.
Can you play the violin?
I played the violin.
I played the violin
Yeah.
when I was little.
And I've actually been cast in a few jobs playing the violin.
Really?
Actually, that George Ogilvy film that I did, Princess Kate, I played the violin in
Can
that.
you still play now?
Oh,
You
yeah.
can understand the basics, I guess, and be able to pick it up if you had to.
Yeah, I can, yeah.
We should definitely pitch Therese starts to learn violin and get that on. That'd be so good. Then you can be playing with B in the waterhole and be like a duet
oh
thing.
my
You can go on some talent show, and you win. You can do Erinsborough's Got Talent, and then you just gonna
Oh
take
my
it out.
God.
You can do some mad mashup thing. Be excellent. What else have we got here? So we've gotten through your period just before, we're coming into Neighbours, I guess. And then was Neighbours, how long was your initial contract on Neighbours?
It was 3 years. And so I'm actually on my third lot of 3 years. So I'm in my 8th year.
Yeah, wow. And that's...
Yeah.
Are you,
it's gone so quick.
Time disappears like crazy on the show.
Yeah, it does. When I first got the job, I was like, oh, God, I think I can only do a year. And, oh, how will I cope? And now it's just like, oh, God, yeah.
Was it easy to step back in when... Because obviously you'd done Home and Away. You knew the speed. I guess it's a bit faster now even than what you were doing on Home and Away. But did that come back to you quite quickly?
Yeah, look, I think it did. I mean, look, I really thrive. Look, I'm sure it took a few weeks to get into the swing of things.
Yeah, as it does for anyone.
But I really thrive doing this genre, and I think it's a very specific genre for not a lot of actors can do it. As we were talking before, we get a lot of incredible film and stage actors come in, and they kind of crumble a little bit because even though they are fabulous actors, they're not quite cut out for this sort of genre. You know what I mean? It's a real, it's almost an over the top sort of almost overacting, but you have to be able to sort of pull it back when necessary. And I think it's a real, like I far enjoy it more than I do, say, film or even another drama, because it's just that keeps you on the
there's a real
toes,
play with it.
and it's just,
You really can
sorry.
play with it at that point when you figure out
Yeah,
where it's supposed to
yeah, and
be.
it's fun, and it's really fun, and I like the idea of it almost sort of, okay,
Yeah,
next,
yeah,
next, um, sometimes it would be nice to sort of spend a little bit more time on that craft, and I think a lot of actors do come into the show sort of overthinking stuff a little bit too much, unfortunately, and we just don't have
yeah.
time for that. So it can be very frustrating for a lot of actors working on a show like this because it is so fast. Whereas I like to, as you probably know, like to work on instinct, and I don't think about it too much. Uh, Probably
And
shows sometimes.
like, because but that's not a bad way to work either. It's not something that, because it's because some people need to do the bookwork in a way, need to write little essays basically on each thing to figure it out. Whereas, like, I'm sort of similar to you in a lot of ways where I need, because I overthink about so much. I kind of actually need to figure out ways to remove that thinking. So a lot of the written stuff, and trying to break down a script and that kind of thing, I kind of need to step aside from, because I can do that quite quickly in my head. And if I do it even more, then when I'm doing the scene, that's all I'm thinking about. When I want to be able to just access the present moment and rely on that and be in it. So for you, how did you, when you were a kid, if you remember, how did you approach it? Was it just that the lines and you were told to believe this thing, so you did, and that's how you did it?
Pretty much, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd had no training or anything. Um, I'd sort of just rely on the director, I guess, and just make sure I knew my lines. And I can't really remember,
Yeah.
to be honest. I think it was just sort of um, just worked very naturally like that. And I guess that's why I still sort of go with that, I guess,
Well,
in a
it works
way.
for you, so why mess with something?
Well, most of the time.
Did you dabble in other like methods and that kind of stuff? No.
No, no,
Did you
no,
ever
no.
do much, like, because when you said you wanted to get back into it, what sort of classes were you doing at that point?
Oh, I was just doing sort of audition workshops and things like that. And just to just try and break down that sort of
Yeah.
the nerves really.
Which I think is the thing that gets in the way for people the most, because I've got friends who are incredible actors, and they don't get much work, and I've never seen them in the audition room, so I don't know, but I can only imagine
They
that there
crumble.
must be something that gets in the way for them in that space. And like, the audition space is just absurd. Like, it's the
Absolutely.
furthest from anything. To it's nothing like it's nothing like being on set, and it's nothing like the actual reality of the situation for the character either. So it's a weird place to test whether someone can
It's a
be that person,
Yeah,
But somehow,
yeah, yeah,
it's what's been the accepted way of doing things for such a long time, and I don't know how that's going to change.
yeah,
Self-testing might help
yeah.
in certain ways, but
Well, I haven't done a self tape yet. I mean, I have done a few over the years, but I haven't, like, now that it's such a big
yeah,
thing. I kind of love the idea of that because I like the idea of being in control
yeah.
and being able to,
Go for another take.
yeah. But I'm such a perfectionist that sometimes that's not
Me
great.
too. I think we're similar in that way. Which is the funny thing about the acting style of trusting instinct. Like, when you're a perfectionist, I think maybe you're similar in that way. Like, if you did do too much homework, then you start to feel that there is a perfect way to approach that script or whatever. And then when you're on set, suddenly that's all you're thinking about is trying to nail that thing. And then you're not alive in the scene, you're not present with the other person, and then that's when it starts to fall apart. And I think you see that with guest casts that come on, whether maybe the less experienced ones who then have a set idea of how they see a scene going, and they've already planned in their head, oh, that character will say it that way, and then I can do this, and then they'll do that, and I
Yeah,
can do this, and it falls apart because the director
yeah,
walks
no,
on and goes, take that line out, these three words aren't really necessary,
yeah,
and we'll
no,
move this bit or whatever,
no.
and then they're like, oh,
That would kill me.
yeah.
I couldn't do it like that. I could not do it like that. I would, yeah. but by saying that, like if I do try something, a little bit, if it doesn't work, I know straight away. Like I know straight away. I know if it's shit. I know if
Well, that's
I
the
know
instinct
straight
thing, right?
away.
Because you're trusting a gut feeling, and when the feeling
Yeah.
isn't right, then it's not right. Which I think, and that's not to say that our characters then are us, because I don't think you're the same as Therese at all, and I don't think I'm like David.
God.
But with these kind of things, you learn your characters so deeply that it becomes like.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go,
It does become second nature.
am I acting anymore? Am I? But it's just because
Yeah,
you do it so much.
It does. It does.
So much.
It becomes second nature. But that's that's the nature of working in something long term. And but oh god, there has been a few times where I've said something and I've gone, nah, sorry, that was
A few times.
That was not right. I said something like the other day, or a couple of weeks or months ago. Actually, probably a couple of years ago. I remember going, oh, something. The cops. Somebody called the cops. And I was like, oh, sorry, Therese would not say cops, the cops. It was just a real big thing, because I'm I'm so different to Therese. I'm a bit of a yobbo,
I wasn't going to say it. But...
Therese, the police.
Get the police.
So, yeah, anyway, it's funny. When I catch myself out, I go, oh, can we do that again? That was not Therese.
And 8 years is a long time, but it's sort of not at the same time. Do you want to keep going?
Or Neighbours?
Yeah. It's a big question, but it's like
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh god, the thought of going out there and auditioning for other jobs makes me want to vomit.
Yeah.
The thought of it is horrific,
and it is pretty.
Especially at my age. Oh god, what am I going to do?
The world's your oyster, Beck. You could do anything.
Oh, God. No, I'm past all that. God. No. I'm very happy to stay where I am. Fingers crossed the show, has got some life in it yet. I've got to look after old Stiffy.
Yeah. Stiffles.
Make sure
do you know? Did you hear that bit about Stiffles? And where Stiffy came from?
No, I've never asked,
so
actually.
It came out in the interview I did last week with him. He Alan Dale, because he doesn't let anyone call him Steffi. No. I think it's only his family, I think, and one other person. And then so Alan Dale said, all right, I'm going to call you Stiffles. And so Stiffles became Stiffy.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's where it came from.
I didn't know
How
that.
funny is that?
But no, so I've got to make sure he doesn't cark it. So I don't lose my job. So I look after him.
Yeah, he's an exceptional.
Every time
man.
he gets a little twinge, I go, what's wrong? Oh,
he's not that old.
You're right. No, I don't mean it in that sense. Don't even kill us if you heard that.
Oh gosh.
Oh.
Yeah, well.
I'm always like making sure he's you're not getting sick. You're not getting cold. You're right. You're right.
Well, we're always taking care of each other, I think. And it's quite a fun set at the moment, don't you think? I feel like across.
Who'd be Therese without Paul?
Yeah, it's a good duo. And he's kind of. And he what started as like a 2-week. He was meant to come on for 2 weeks, and then now, however many years later, he's back on, which is kind of insane for his second stint on the show, at least.
Amazing.
But yeah, 8 years. Have you? Yeah. Do you feel like? Because there's sort of like, I guess, periods of the cast. So you have like different kind of eras and the feelings change. And right now I feel like it's a really fun one, don't you think?
Yeah. It is weird. God, imagine what it's like for Alan and Jackie and Ryan and Stiffy, like just having really sort of, for them it'd be far more noticeable than I mean, yeah, I've seen different people, different connection, different what do you call it?
Like energies or
Yeah. But no, the gang that we've got at the moment is fantastic, and I think everyone's amazing, and it's a good cast, and everyone gets along so well, and we all love what we do, and it's I mean, look, I've never been there where it's been weird, like
Uncomfortable or something.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're 25 actors stuck in a very small room. Our green room's
And
tiny.
some of us, not mentioning any names,
So,
Becky, are quite loud in those rooms.
who on earth would you be talking about? But you've got 25 very, very different personalities, 25 people who are very narcissistic.
Speak for yourself.
No, actors, they're an interesting bunch of people. But no, we all get along very well, and our crew are amazing. They work so hard. Wouldn't you agree, Jack?
Oh.
I mean, they're amazing. We kind of whinge and bitch and moan, if we've got a 6 o'clock call, and
Yeah. I mean, we're
we're like there all day, every day.
Which I think are like, because that is always a response, but it's at the same time, there's a thing for us is that because it's not the same each day, that makes it harder. And also, we have to go home, we have to learn lines, like there's other things that we do beyond the set, so it does definitely balance out in a lot of ways.
Look, absolutely. And so I'm gonna try and turn your sound up, because
that could be me too. I can talk closer to the mic, which might help.
Oh, that's better.
That's better.
Oh, now I can hear you.
It's only been an hour.
Oh, what have you been saying the whole time? Have I
You've just been talking the whole time. We can have a quick look before we wrap up, because it's now hit an hour. At the live chat.
Clock time.
1 o'clock time. And see what
It's 1 o'clock
see what people have been saying. What do we got here? We've got a lot of emojis going on, which is quite fun. Someone said, why does no one have animals on set anymore? Reckon your 2 dogs could fill in for Clancy, as we haven't seen Clancy much recently.
Yeah.
Oh, do you like working with animals?
Yeah, where is Clancy? Look, I wasn't too fond of Clementine, to be honest. That bloody cat. I love cats. I've got a cat as well, but cats, no, because you can't train cats. You can't train cats, whereas dogs are trained.
Well, the Tiger King apparently could train tigers, so I mean...
God,
do you have people asking? Do you have any family still in Greece?
In Greece, yes, I do. Actually, well, my uncle, he comes out every few years. He's actually stuck here in Sydney.
Oh, right.
At the moment, and his poor wife's in Greece because he hasn't been able to get back. So, yeah, I've got family in Greece. I've got family in France. I've got family.
Do you speak French?
In Ukraine. Weird.
Is that a we, and now I don't know anything else to say, or is that a genuine you do?
Oui. So my accents. Hey, I should say languages. French. Yeah.
And they all sound Italian by the end of it. Is that what you go with?
No, Spanish. See.
Have you? This is an interesting question from the Walrus. Thank you, the Walrus. Have you accidentally called your real family names of your, let's just say, neighbours' characters?
No, I have never done that.
That's good.
My husband, I've got a little story.
Oh, yeah.
My husband is hopeless with names, like hopeless.
I feel his pain.
And it drives me nuts when I come home and I'm telling him a story about what's happened during the day, and I'll mention Takaya, this and that. Actually, yours is quite a name. It's all the Tims and the Bens and the Marks and the Chris's and the Bretts,
and then they've got their character name on top of that, so it's sort of like it's super confusing.
The character name, and it drives me insane. But he's just got no idea.
Are you still in touch with many of your home and away cast? That's one in there.
No, not really. I sort of saw a bunch of them at not the last Logies because I was overseas.
Yeah.
But the Logies before, Ray and Emily and Georgie, and that was so lovely. But no, not really. I mean, it's just
what happens
social media. Absolutely.
It's a weird thing in acting too, because like no matter whether you're doing stage or TV or film, you're in this really intense environment. We're all really intimate with each other, and you form this really strong bonds. And then it's really accepted that once that show's over, it's not that no one you don't care about each other anymore or whatever, but it's just this accepted thing that you sort of say goodbye on that last day of filming or whatever, and then you go your separate ways. And then when you see each other, it's a big catch up, and oh my god, how are you going, all that kind of thing. But it's weird how it's rarer that people then connect and stay super, super strong friends, or especially on a large scale. It might be one-on-ones of specific people, but for like a whole cast and stuff, it's everyone really loves each other, but it's a weird thing that it's just what we do.
Oh, and it's such a passionate, strong... God, yeah, I've finished so many jobs where it's just been the end of the world. It's just been awful, and then you move on to the next job. And then sometimes you're lucky enough to work with the same people again.
Yeah, which can be weird though, because I've seen people who have been related then be lovers, which is a whole weird mind thing, really.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was Jackie and Fletch did that. They were sisters, a brother and sister.
Oh, brother and
something.
sister. Yeah,
and then
they were, weren't they?
Now they're Dr. Carl and Susan.
Yes. Gosh.
Is there any other questions here? Wait, I should scroll to the bottom because people might have started writing some. They said they're asking, why does Therese still have pictures of Brad in her living room?
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous. We were all, I don't know. I think some of them are with Josh, but we need to get rid of some of them because it's just
weird,
ridiculous.
Paul wouldn't put up with that.
And there's like family photos, and I keep looking at them and just going, oh, and it's only like 7 years ago, and like half skinny and young, and it's like, get it out of the
gosh,
house.
Times change too quickly.
No.
Well, anyway, I think it's a good time to wrap up. People in Australia should go and log on, or not log on, but go and watch Neighbours because it's started already. We've gone over time a little bit, but I keep doing that. So I don't know. We've got 90 people watching us right now. I think that's the most we've had so far. So, congratulations, Beck. She did it. She holds the record. Yay!
Oh, thank you.
But it's been a lot of fun.
It's been so good. I could keep talking for hours.
I know.
I know.
Yeah.
It's been so much fun.
Thanks for joining us, and stay on the line. I'll just do a little bit of a wrap up for everybody.
Okay. No worries.
So
bye, everyone.
So everyone at home, thank you for logging in and watching takTalks number 5. Make sure you hit the subscribe button because you want to know when the next one is, which is tomorrow, and I get to announce right now who my next guest is on the show. I think you will all be very excited to see the man himself, the conductor, let's call him, of the tram 82. It is Chris Milligan. Yay! The crowd goes wild. I can imagine you all at home clapping right now, and I hope that's what you're doing. But thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to Beck for coming on. She's been brilliant. We love her on set, and I love talking to her like this. So yeah, thank you for joining me today. I hope to be back tomorrow at 5:30. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. But otherwise, thanks for joining us today. Bye!